I was staring at my wife's phone, watching my entire world collapse into a single text message. Last night was incredible. I can't stop thinking about you. When can we do it again? The message sat there on the lock screen, sent at 2:47 a.m. from someone named Jim Tyler. My hands trembled as I held the device that had buzzed on our kitchen counter while Rachel was in the shower. The timestamp mocked me. 2:47 a.m., just 3 hours after she'd supposedly fallen asleep beside me. Except she hadn't been beside me at 2:47 a.m., had she? My mind raced backward through the previous night. Rachel had come home around midnight, claiming her book club ran late. She'd smelled like wine and something else. Cologne, maybe? But I'd been half asleep and hadn't questioned it. Why would I? We'd been married for 11 years. We had 2 kids sleeping upstairs. We had a mortgage, a golden retriever, and a minivan with stick figure family decals on the back window. We were supposed to be solid. The shower shut off upstairs. I had maybe 5 minutes before Rachel came down. My heart hammered against my rib cage as I made a split-second decision that would define everything that followed. I grabbed my own phone and took a photo of her screen, capturing the message, the timestamp, and the contact name. Then I set her phone back exactly where she'd left it. "Coffee ready," Rachel called from upstairs, her voice cheerful and light. The same voice that had whispered, "I love you" to me for over a decade. The same voice that sang lullabies to our daughters. "Just finishing up," I managed to call back, my voice surprisingly steady despite the acid burning in my throat. I poured her coffee into her favorite mug, the one that said, "World's Best Mom," that our 7-year-old Emma had picked out last Mother's Day. My hands moved on autopilot while my brain screamed. The normalcy of the moment felt obscene. Here I was, performing the same morning ritual we'd done thousands of times, except now I knew my wife was sleeping with someone named Tyler from her gym. How long had this been going on? Rachel appeared in the kitchen doorway, her blonde hair still damp, wearing the blue dress I'd always loved. She looked beautiful. She looked like my wife. She looked like a stranger. "You're an angel," she said, accepting the coffee with a quick kiss on my cheek. "I'm running late. That book club went way too long last night." Book club. The lie rolled off her tongue so easily. I wondered how many other lies I'd swallowed without question. How many late meetings and girls' nights had actually been spent with Tyler. "How was it?" I asked, testing her. "The book club? Oh, you know how Jennifer gets when she's had wine." Rachel laughed, pulling her phone off the counter and dropping it into her purse without checking it. She spent 20 minutes arguing about whether the protagonist was justified in leaving her husband. Very passionate. The irony would have been funny if it wasn't destroying me from the inside out. "Which book are you reading again?" I pressed. Rachel paused, her hand on her purse. For just a fraction of a second, something flickered across her face. Panic? Guilt? Then it was gone, replaced by her usual warm smile. "The one I told you about last week. The marriage thriller. Honestly, it's not that great, but everyone else wanted to read it." She hadn't told me about any book last week. She was making it up as she went along. "Daddy!" Emma burst into the kitchen, her brown pigtails bouncing. Our 4-year-old Lily toddled behind her, clutching her stuffed rabbit. The sight of them sent a fresh wave of pain through my chest. What was this going to do to them? "Morning, princesses," I said, scooping Lily into my arms while Emma wrapped herself around my leg. Rachel kissed both girls on the head, grabbed her keys, and headed for the door. "I've got that early client meeting, remember? I'll probably be home around 6. Another lie? Or was there actually a client meeting? I had no idea anymore. How much of my life was real, and how much was carefully constructed fiction? "See you tonight," I said. The door closed behind her. Through the kitchen window, I watched her pull out of the driveway in her silver sedan. She was on her phone before she even reached the stop sign. "Daddy, you're squishing me," Lily complained. I loosened my grip, realizing I'd been holding her too tight. "Sorry, sweetheart." As I made breakfast for the girls, Emma wanted pancakes, Lily wanted cereal. My mind worked through the implications. I was a data analyst for a healthcare company. Problem solving was literally my job. I needed to approach this logically, not emotionally. Fact 1. My wife was having an affair with someone from her gym. Fact 2. She was lying to me about it. Fact 3. I had proof. But proof of what exactly? One text message? Any lawyer would tell me that wasn't enough. I needed more. I needed to know the full scope of what I was dealing with before I made any moves. "Daddy, the pancakes are burning," Emma said. Smoke rose from the griddle. I'd been so lost in thought I'd forgotten to flip them. I scraped the charred pancakes into the trash and started over, forcing myself to focus on my daughters. They didn't deserve to see me fall apart. Not yet. Maybe not ever, if I could help it. After breakfast, I got the girls dressed and dropped them at school and daycare. Then, instead of heading to my office, I sat in my car in the parking lot and pulled up the photo I'd taken of Rachel's phone. "Last night was incredible. I can't stop thinking about you. When can we do it again?" I zoomed in on the contact name. Jim, Tyler. Time to find out exactly who Tyler was. I sat in my car outside Emma's school, engine running, hands still gripping the steering wheel. The minivan's air conditioning hummed against the late September heat, but I barely noticed. My phone sat in the cup holder. Tyler's message burned into my memory. I needed to know who he was. Back at the house, I made coffee and opened my laptop at the kitchen table. Rachel was at work, or wherever she actually went during the day. I'd stopped taking anything at face value. The data analyst in me kicked in. I had a first name, a gym connection, and a timestamp. Not much, but I'd worked with less. Rachel's gym was Peak Fitness on Riverside Drive. She'd joined 8 months ago, claiming she wanted to get back in shape after Lily. I'd encouraged it, even paid for the premium membership. The irony tasted like copper in my mouth. I pulled up their website. No member directory, that would have been too easy, but they had staff photos. I scrolled through the trainers section. There, third row down. Tyler Bennett, personal trainer. Certified since 2019. He had that sculpted look that came from living in a gym. Dark hair, sharp jawline, the kind of smile that probably worked on a lot of women. He looked about 30, maybe younger. My wife was sleeping with our daughter's potential babysitter's age equivalent. I screenshot his photo and staff bio. Then I opened a new browser tab and started digging deeper. Social media, public records, anything I could find without crossing into illegal territory. Tyler's Instagram was public. Gym selfies, protein shake promotions, motivational quotes about pushing past your limits. I scrolled back through his timeline, looking for any trace of Rachel. Nothing obvious. He was careful, or she was. But then I found it. A photo from 6 weeks ago. Tyler at some charity 5K run, surrounded by a group of people in matching Peak Fitness shirts. In the background, partially cropped out, a blonde woman in a blue tank top. Rachel owned that exact tank top. I zoomed in until the pixels blurred. It was her. I was 90% certain. The photo had 17 comments, none from Rachel's account. But one caught my eye. "Great seeing everyone Saturday, same time next week." Posted by Tyler, liked by a user named RLMFit. Rachel Louise Nelson. Her maiden name. I clicked through to the profile. Private account, no profile picture, only 12 followers. A ghost account. My hands started shaking again. She'd created a separate Instagram just to interact with him. This wasn't some impulsive mistake. This was premeditated, organized deception. I grabbed my phone and called Peak Fitness. Peak Fitness, this is Jordan speaking. How can I help you? Hi, yeah. I'm looking to book some training sessions with Tyler Bennett. Is he available this week? Let me check his schedule. Keyboard clicks in the background. Looks like Tyler has openings Wednesday at 6 p.m. and Thursday at noon. Which works better for you? Wednesday at 6. That was when Rachel had her standing book club night. Actually, what about Thursday evenings? Does he work then? Thursday evenings. He's usually booked solid. Very popular time slot. We have a waiting list if you're interested. Who's he training Thursday nights? I might know them. Could ask if they want to share a session. I'm sorry, sir, we can't share client information. Privacy policy. Right, of course. What about Wednesday nights? He available then? Wednesday at 6 p.m. is open, like I said. Want me to book it? Let me check with my wife and call you back. I hung up before she could respond. Wednesday nights. Rachel's book club nights. Tyler had that slot conspicuously open. I pulled up our joint calendar on my phone. Rachel had book club marked every Wednesday at 7 p.m. for the past 4 months. Before that, nothing. The club had started exactly 8 months ago, right when she joined the gym. My coffee had gone cold. I dumped it in the sink and poured a fresh cup, my third of the morning. I needed more than circumstantial evidence. I needed proof that would hold up in divorce court, because that's where this was heading. No matter how much I wanted to believe there was some explanation, some misunderstanding, the data didn't lie. Rachel came home at 5:30, right on schedule. I was making dinner, spaghetti, the girl's favorite. Smells good, she said, dropping her purse on the counter. She kissed my cheek, same as always. How was your day? Quiet. Caught up on some work. You? Exhausting. Client meetings back to back. She opened the fridge, grabbed a bottle of water. Oh, reminder. Book club tomorrow night. I'll probably be home around 10. Tomorrow was Wednesday. What are you reading this week? I kept my voice level, casual. She paused, just for a second. We're finishing the thriller from last week, the marriage one. Probably going to discuss the ending. Sounds intense. What's it called again? Another pause. The Silent Patient. Have you heard of it? I had, actually. It was a bestseller from a few years back. Easy enough to fake knowledge about. Yeah, I think so. The one with the twist ending? Exactly. She smiled, relieved. I won't spoil it for you. Emma and Lily thundered in from the living room, saving me from having to continue the charade. Daddy, is dinner ready? Emma climbed onto her chair. 5 minutes, sweetheart. Rachel helped set the table and we ate together like a normal family. The girls chattered about their day, Emma's art project, Lily's new friend at daycare. Rachel laughed at their stories, asked follow-up questions, played the role of attentive mother perfectly. I wondered how much of it was real, if any of it was. After dinner, after baths and bedtime stories and tucking the girls in, Rachel and I sat on the couch watching some home renovation show. She curled against me, her head on my shoulder. I love you, she said during a commercial break. Love you too. The words came automatically, muscle memory from 11 years of marriage, but they felt hollow now, like I was reading lines from a script. That night, after Rachel fell asleep, I slipped out of bed and went to my office. I'd been thinking about this all evening, weighing the ethics against the necessity. I needed to see those messages. All of them. Rachel's phone was charging on her nightstand, like always. I knew her passcode. We'd never kept that kind of secret from each other. The irony wasn't lost on me. I picked up the phone, entered the code, and opened her messages. The thread with Jim Tyler had been deleted. Of course it had. She'd probably erased it this morning after I left for the school drop-off. But I knew data. I knew that deleted didn't always mean gone. I went back to my office and pulled up the iCloud account we shared. Another thing we'd set up years ago for family photos and calendar syncing. Rachel had never changed the settings. I logged in and navigated to the backup files. Her last phone backup was from 3 days ago, before she deleted the messages. I downloaded it. It took 20 minutes to extract and decrypt the message database. I'd done similar forensic work for a client once, helping recover lost business communications. The tools were freely available if you knew where to look. The messages populated on my screen. There were hundreds of them. I started reading, my stomach churning with each new revelation. The affair had been going on for 5 months since late April. They'd been careful at first, but the messages grew bolder over time. Tyler, can't wait to see you tonight. Wear that black thing I like. Rachel, you're insatiable. I can barely walk after last time. Tyler, your husband really doesn't notice you're gone every Wednesday? Rachel, he's clueless, too busy with work and the kids. Honestly, I think he's relieved to have the house to himself. That one hit like a physical blow. I kept reading, documenting everything. Screenshots, timestamps, saved to an encrypted folder. Evidence. They'd met at hotels mostly. The Riverside Inn on Wednesdays, sometimes the Marriott by the highway. She'd paid in cash. I'd noticed money missing from our joint account, but she'd explained it away as groceries and gas. More lies, layered on lies. In one message thread from 2 weeks ago, Rachel had written, "I think I'm falling for you. This is getting complicated." Tyler's response, "Then leave him. We could be together for real." Rachel, "It's not that simple. The girls, the house, everything we've built. I need time to figure this out." I sat back in my chair, staring at the screen. She was planning to leave me. Maybe not today, maybe not next month, but she was considering it. The life I thought we had was already over. I just hadn't known it yet. I saved everything to 3 separate drives and uploaded copies to a secure cloud server. Then I cleared my browsing history and put Rachel's phone back exactly where I'd found it. Tomorrow was Wednesday, book club night. I had a plan forming, but I needed one more piece of information first. I needed to know where they were meeting. I spent Tuesday mapping out the logistics. Every detail had to be airtight. The Riverside Inn was a mid-tier hotel on the east side of town, the kind of place that catered to business travelers and people who needed discretion. I'd driven past it 100 times without giving it a second thought. Now it made my stomach turn. I called them around noon, using a burner phone app I'd downloaded. "Riverside Inn, this is Courtney speaking. How can I help you?" "Hi, I'm hoping to book a room for tomorrow night, but I wanted to make sure I could get the same room my wife and I stayed in last time." "Room 237? Let me check our system." A pause. "I'm showing that room is actually already reserved for tomorrow evening." My pulse quickened. "Oh, that's too bad. What about Thursday?" "Thursday's wide open. Would you like me to book that for you?" "Let me check with my wife and call you back. Thanks." I hung up and stared at the phone. Room 237, reserved for tomorrow night. The same room number appeared in the deleted messages I'd recovered. Rachel had texted Tyler 3 weeks ago. "Same place tomorrow? 237 is our lucky number." I had the where. Now I needed the when. Rachel's calendar showed book club 7 p.m. for tomorrow. The messages indicated she typically arrived at the hotel around 7:30, after making a show of leaving for her fictional book club. Tyler would already be there, having checked in earlier. I opened a new document on my laptop and started typing out a timeline. Every Wednesday for the past 5 months, with hotel names, times, and amounts withdrawn from our joint account. The cash withdrawals were always on Tuesday afternoons, $200 to $250 each time. Small enough not to trigger any alerts, large enough to cover a hotel room. She'd gotten sloppy with the Instagram account, though. The RLM Fit profile had liked dozens of Tyler's posts, commented with flame emojis, and looking good on his shirtless gym selfies. She'd even posted a few photos of her own, carefully cropped shots that didn't show her face, just her body and workout clothes. The captions were generic fitness motivation quotes, but the subtext was clear. Tyler had commented on every single one. My phone buzzed. A text from Rachel. Can you pick up Emma from soccer, running late with a client? I typed back, sure, no problem. Another lie. There was no client meeting on her calendar. She was probably getting her nails done or buying new lingerie. Something to prepare for tomorrow night. I picked up Emma at 4:30. She climbed into the back seat with her soccer bag, her face flushed from practice. How was it? I asked. Good. Coach said I'm getting better at passing. She buckled her seatbelt. Is Mommy making dinner tonight? Probably. She's just running a little late. She's always late now, Emma said, looking out the window. She used to pick me up before. The observation hit harder than it should have. Even the kids were noticing the changes. When we got home, Rachel's car was already in the driveway. I found her in the kitchen, chopping vegetables for a salad. She'd changed into yoga pants and a tank top, her hair pulled back in a ponytail. Hey, she said brightly. How was soccer? Good, Emma answered, already heading upstairs. I'm going to do my homework. Rachel turned to me, knife in hand. I was thinking we could do tacos tonight. Sound good? Sure. She went back to chopping. I watched her hands move, quick and efficient. The same hands that had typed those messages to Tyler. The same hands that had touched him in hotel rooms while I was home with our daughters. You okay? She asked without looking up. You seem distracted. Just thinking about work stuff. Anything I can help with? The casual intimacy of the question made me want to scream. Instead, I pulled out my phone and pretended to check email. No, it's fine. Just a data migration issue. Boring technical stuff. She smiled. That's my genius husband. Always solving problems. I left the kitchen before I said something I'd regret. That night, after the girls were asleep, I sat in my home office and finalized my plan. I'd considered confronting Rachel directly, but that would give her time to construct a story, to manipulate the narrative. I'd considered showing up at the hotel, but that felt too dramatic, too unpredictable. What I needed was documentation, irrefutable evidence that would hold up in court. I'd already contacted a divorce attorney, a guy named Brian Walsh who came highly recommended. We had a consultation scheduled for Thursday morning. But Walsh had been clear. The more evidence I had, the stronger my position. Oregon was a no-fault divorce state, which meant Rachel's affair wouldn't directly impact the divorce itself, but it could affect custody arrangements and spousal support, especially if I could demonstrate a pattern of deception and poor judgment. I needed photographs. Video, if possible. Time-stamped, geotagged, unambiguous. I opened my laptop and searched for private investigators in the area. Most of them had websites that looked like they were designed in 2005, with stock photos of people in trench coats holding cameras. But one stood out. Cascade Investigations, run by a woman named Jennifer Cole. Former police detective, licensed and bonded, specializing in domestic cases. I filled out the contact form on her website, explaining the situation in broad strokes. Within 20 minutes, my phone rang. This is Jennifer Cole. I got your inquiry. Her voice was professional, matter of fact. No judgment, no sympathy, just business. Thanks for calling back so quickly, I said. You mentioned you need surveillance tomorrow night. That's short notice, but I can make it work. Walk me through what you know. I gave her the details. The hotel, the likely time frame, the room number. I sent her photos of Rachel and Tyler that I'd pulled from social media. This is good information, she said. Very thorough. You've done your homework. I'm a data analyst. Research is kind of my thing. Well, it'll make my job easier. My rate is $150 an hour, 4-hour minimum, plus expenses. I'll need a retainer of $750 upfront. That's fine. How does payment work? I'll send you an invoice. You can pay by credit card or bank transfer. Once that clears, we're set. And the photographs, how will I get them? I'll upload everything to a secure cloud folder. Photos, video if I can get it, a written report with timestamps and observations. You'll have access within 24 hours of the surveillance. Perfect. One more thing, Jennifer said. I need to be clear about what I can and can't do. I can document them entering and leaving the hotel. I can photograph them together in public areas, but I can't enter the hotel room and I can't trespass on private property. If they stay inside the whole time, the evidence will be limited to them arriving separately and being in the same location. I understand. But the room is registered under one of their names, right? That should be enough to establish they were there together. Combined with your other evidence, yes, it builds a pattern. After we hung up, I paid the retainer and sat back in my chair. The plan was in motion now. No turning back. I thought about tomorrow night. While Rachel was at the Riverside Inn with Tyler, I'd be home with Emma and Lily, probably reading bedtime stories and making sure they brushed their teeth. Playing the role of the oblivious husband one more time. But this time, I'd know exactly what was happening, and I'd have proof. My phone buzzed with a text from Rachel. Coming to bed? I looked at the message for a long moment, then typed. In a few minutes, just finishing something up. 3 dots appeared, then disappeared. No response. I opened the folder on my laptop where I'd saved all the evidence. Screenshots of messages, bank statements, the timeline I'd constructed. Everything organized and labeled, ready to hand over to Walsh. Tomorrow night would give me the final piece. And then I could start planning my exit. I heard footsteps on the stairs. Rachel appeared in the doorway, wearing one of my old t-shirts as a nightgown. You're working too hard, she said softly. Come to bed. I saved my work and closed the laptop. Yeah, you're right. She smiled and disappeared back down the hallway. I sat there for another minute, staring at the closed laptop. Tomorrow night, everything would change. I spent Tuesday night on the couch, claiming a stiff neck. Rachel bought it without question, probably relieved to have the bed to herself. I lay awake until 3, listening to the house settle, my mind running through every possible outcome of tomorrow. Wednesday morning arrived with the weight of a funeral. I went through the motions: coffee, breakfast, school drop-off. Rachel seemed lighter somehow, humming while she packed her gym bag. The one she'd take to Tyler. Book club tonight, she said, kissing my cheek. Her lips felt like ice. Might be late. We're doing a deep dive on the new Celeste Ng. I'd checked. There was no new Celeste Ng book. Have fun, I said. Work was impossible. I pushed spreadsheets around, attended a meeting where I nodded at appropriate intervals, ate lunch without tasting it. Jennifer texted at 2. In position. Silver Civic in northwest corner of Riverside Inn lot. She won't see me. At 5:47 p.m., Rachel texted, heading to book club. Love you. I was home with the girls playing Candyland with Emma, while Lily built block towers and knocked them down. My phone sat face up on the coffee table. Waiting. 6:23 p.m. Target arrived at Riverside Inn. Parking now. My hand trembled slightly as I moved my gingerbread man forward 3 spaces. 6:31 p.m. Male subject arrived. Matches description. They entered together. Daddy, it's your turn, Emma said. I drew a card. Purple. I moved my piece. 7:15 p.m. Subjects visible through 3rd floor window. Room 237. Getting photos. The girls were in pajamas by 8, teeth brushed, stories read. Emma picked the paper bag princess, and I stumbled over words I'd read 100 times. Lily fell asleep halfway through Good Night Moon, her stuffed rabbit clutched to her chest. I tucked them in, kissed their foreheads, and went back downstairs to wait. 8:52 p.m. Subjects leaving. Got clear shots of both exiting room, embracing in hallway, kissing by her car. Uploading photos to secure folder now. My laptop was already open. I refreshed the shared drive Jennifer had set up. A new folder appeared. Bennett 0913, Surveillance. 43 photographs. I opened the first one. Rachel's car in the parking lot, license plate clearly visible. Timestamp, 18:23:47. The second, Tyler's truck pulling in beside her. 18:31:02. Third, Rachel and Tyler walking toward the hotel entrance. His hand on her lower back. She was laughing. I clicked through them mechanically. Rachel and Tyler in the third-floor hallway. Tyler unlocking room 237. Rachel's hand on his chest as they entered. The window shots were grainy but unmistakable. Two figures backlit, embracing. Clothes coming off. I clicked past those quickly. Then the exit photos. Tyler in the hallway, adjusting his shirt. Rachel emerging, hair mussed, dress wrinkled. Tyler pulling her close. Rachel rising on her toes to kiss him, her hand cupping his face with a tenderness that made my stomach turn. The final shots showed them at her car. A long goodbye. Another kiss. Tyler watching as she drove away. Professional. Thorough. Irrefutable. I downloaded everything to an encrypted drive, then a second backup. Printed the clearest 20 photos on our home printer, the one Rachel used for the girls' school projects. The irony wasn't lost on me. She came home at 10:37 p.m., almost 3 hours after leaving Tyler. "Hey," she said, dropping her bag by the door. "Sorry it ran late. You know how Karen gets when she's passionate about a book." There was no Karen in her book club. I'd checked that too. "How was it?" I asked from the couch. "Good. Really good discussion." She headed for the kitchen. "Did the girls go down okay?" "Fine. They missed you." She poured herself water, drank it standing at the sink. I watched her throat work as she swallowed. This woman I'd loved for 11 years. This stranger. "I'm exhausted," she said. "I'm going to shower and crash." I listened to the water run upstairs. Listened to her get ready for bed. Listened to her slip between the sheets in our bedroom while I stayed on the couch. My phone buzzed. "Jennifer. Invoice sent. Let me know if you need anything else." Thursday morning, I took a personal day. Told Rachel I had a dentist appointment. She barely looked up from her phone, probably texting Tyler. Brian Walsh's office was downtown, 5th floor of a renovated brick building. His receptionist offered coffee I didn't want. I sat in the waiting area, the envelope of photographs heavy in my lap. Mr. Stevens, a man in his 50s, gray hair, kind eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. "Come on back." His office was lined with law books and family photos, a golden retriever in most of them. He gestured to a chair across from his desk. "So," he said, settling into his seat, "tell me what's going on." I told him. All of it. The text message, the investigation, the surveillance. I slid the envelope across his desk. He reviewed the photos without expression, making occasional notes. When he finished, he set them down carefully. "How long have you known?" he asked. "Since Sunday, confirmed it Monday. These are from last night." "And she doesn't know you know?" "No." He nodded slowly. "That's good. That's smart. Oregon is a no-fault divorce state, so the affair itself won't impact the divorce decree, but it absolutely matters for custody and spousal support considerations." He tapped the photos. "This level of documentation is unusual. Most people come in with suspicions and phone records. You've got airtight evidence." "I'm a data analyst," I said. "I know how to build a case." "I can see that." He pulled out a legal pad. "Let's talk about what you want. Custody is obviously priority one, yes?" "I want primary custody. I want the girls with me. Given her documented deception in the affair, we can make a strong argument that she's demonstrated poor judgment, especially if we can show a pattern of prioritizing the affair over parental responsibilities. Do you have evidence of that? I pulled out my phone, opened my notes. Wednesday nights for the past 5 months. She claimed book club. I have hotel receipts, cash withdrawals, text messages discussing their meetups. Emma's noticed her mother is always late now, picking her up from school. Would Emma testify to that? The thought made me sick. She's 7. I know, I'm sorry. But if it comes to it, the judge may want to hear from her. Not in open court, in chambers, very gently. Just something to be aware of. He made more notes. What about assets? Do you know what you're working with? Joint checking and savings. The house is in both names. 2 cars, both paid off. Her 401k, my 401k. No significant debt beyond the mortgage. Income ratio? I make about $65,000. She makes $42,000. So you're the primary earner. That works in your favor for custody, though she may seek spousal support. He looked up. Are you prepared for this to get ugly? It's already ugly. Fair enough. But I mean legally ugly. She may fight for custody. She may claim you're an unfit parent. She may try to characterize your investigation as stalking or invasion of privacy. People do desperate things when cornered. I documented everything legally. I didn't hack her phone. I accessed our shared iCloud account. I hired a licensed investigator who photographed activity in public spaces and visible through a window from a public parking lot. Everything's above board. He almost smiled. You really are a data analyst, aren't you? I like things to be correct. Well, you've done this correctly. Here's what happens next. I'll draft a petition for dissolution of marriage. We'll file it with the court, and she'll be served. Once she's served, we're in active litigation. I'll push for temporary custody orders that favor you, especially given her documented deception. We'll request mediation first. Most judges require it. If she's reasonable, we can settle without trial. If not, he shrugged. We go to trial. With this evidence, I like our chances. How long does it take? 6 months minimum, even if she doesn't contest. Could be a year or more if she fights. Oregon has a mandatory waiting period. A year. A year of living in this house with her, pretending. A year of the girls not understanding why mommy and daddy were splitting up. I can't stay there, I said. Not now that I know. I understand, but don't move out yet. Leaving the marital home can be interpreted as abandonment, which could hurt your custody case. I know it's hard, but try to maintain the status quo until we file. Once we have temporary orders, you can make other arrangements. I thought of sleeping on the couch, of watching her text Tyler, of her kissing the girls goodnight with lies on her lips. How soon can we file? I can have the petition ready by Monday. We'll need financial disclosures, custody proposals, a parenting plan. Can you get me 3 years of tax returns, 6 months of bank statements, and a list of all marital assets by Friday? Yes? Good. In the meantime, document everything. Keep a journal of who does what with the kids, who makes breakfast, who does homework, who handles bedtime. If she's late for pickups, note the time. If she misses events, write it down. Build the pattern. I was already doing that. I'd started a spreadsheet Sunday night. One more thing, he said. Don't confront her yet. Don't tell her you know. Don't give her time to prepare or hide assets or coach the girls. The element of surprise is valuable. She'll be served, and that's when she'll know, not before. What about Tyler? Can we go after him? Oregon abolished alienation of affection claims decades ago. We can't sue him. But if he's been around your daughters, that's something we can use in custody arguments. Has he met them? Not that I know of. Keep monitoring that. If she introduces them to her affair partner while you're still married, that's poor judgment we can highlight. We spent another hour going over details. By the time I left, I had a timeline, a strategy, and a retainer agreement for $5,000. I wrote the check from our joint account. Let her see that transaction and wonder. I picked up the girls from daycare at 5. Emma ran to me with a painting of a rainbow. Lily showed me the snack she'd saved. Half a graham cracker in a crumpled napkin. "Is Mommy coming home for dinner?" Emma asked in the car. "Yes, baby, Mommy will be home." She was at 6:15. We ate spaghetti at the kitchen table, Rachel telling the girls about her day, asking about theirs. Playing the part perfectly. After dinner, while Rachel gave Lily a bath, I opened our shared laptop, the one we used for household things. Budgets, grocery lists, recipes, and a document shredder app we'd installed last year when we digitized our files. We'd scanned old bills, tax returns, medical records, anything we wanted to keep digital and destroy physical. The app had a queue system. You could load documents for shredding, review them, then permanently delete them. I opened it out of habit, thinking I'd clear out some old utility bills. The queue wasn't empty. 7 documents, all dated within the last 3 weeks. All titled variations of "Letter to My Name." My hand froze on the trackpad. I clicked the first one. "Dear my name, I don't know how to tell you this." I stared at the 7 document files, each one a ghost of a confession that never happened. My cursor hovered over the first one, dated 3 weeks ago, right around the time Jennifer's surveillance photos showed Rachel and Tyler getting bolder, meeting twice in 1 week instead of their usual Wednesday routine. The shared laptop sat on the kitchen counter where we'd always kept it. A family device. The irony wasn't lost on me that Rachel had drafted her confessions on the same computer where Emma did her homework and Lily watched cartoons. I clicked the first file. "Dear Michael, I don't know how to tell you this, but I need to be honest. I've been seeing someone else. His name is Tyler, and I met him at the gym 6 months ago. It started as just conversation, then coffee, and then it became something more. I never meant for this to happen. You deserve better than this. I'm so sorry. I think we should talk about what comes next." The girls. It ended there, unfinished, deleted instead of sent. My hands were steady as I opened the second file, dated 2 weeks ago. "Dear Michael, I've tried to write this letter a dozen times and I can't find the right words. There are no right words for what I've done. I've been unfaithful to you, to our marriage, to everything we built together. I met someone at the gym and I let it go too far. I kept telling myself I would end it, but I didn't. I kept lying to you about book club and client meetings. I don't know what I want anymore. I look at Emma and Lily and I feel sick about what this will do to them. But I also can't keep living this double life. I need to figure out..." Another fragment, another deletion. The third file was shorter. "Michael, I'm having an affair. I'm sorry. We need to talk." Direct, clinical, also unsent. I worked through the remaining 4 files. Each one started with the same premise: confession, apology, some attempt at explanation. The most recent was dated 5 days ago, last Saturday morning while I'd taken the girls to the park. "Dear Michael, I know I should tell you this in person, but I'm a coward. I've been seeing Tyler Bennett from Peak Fitness for 5 months. We meet on Wednesdays at the Riverside Inn. Sometimes other days too. I tell you I'm at book club or meeting clients, but I'm with him. I don't love him. I don't think I do. But being with him makes me feel like someone other than just a wife and mother. Someone who exists for herself. Is that selfish? Yes. Is it cruel to you? Absolutely. Do I have the courage to actually send this letter?" The document ended there, mid-thought. She'd typed those words 5 days ago, then deleted them. 5 days ago, I'd already known everything. I'd already hired Jennifer, already met with Brian, already started building my case. Rachel had been drafting confessions while I'd been gathering evidence. I sat back, processing. These weren't just deleted files. They were breadcrumbs. digital artifacts of guilt and indecision. And they were stored in our shared cloud account, synced across all our devices, including the laptop we donated to the file room at Rachel's office. The thought hit me like cold water. 6 months ago, Rachel's company had upgraded their document management system. They'd asked employees to donate old electronics for the shared file room, a common area where staff could use equipment for personal projects, print documents, or access files. Rachel had donated our old laptop, the one we'd replaced last Christmas. We'd wiped it. Or thought we had. Factory reset, new user profile. But the cloud account? Had we logged out of the cloud account first? I pulled up my phone and checked our shared cloud storage. The settings showed 3 devices with active access: my laptop, Rachel's laptop, and one listed as Office File Room Laptop or 3. Our old laptop, still synced, still accessing our shared files, which meant these confession drafts, these unsent deleted letters, were potentially accessible to anyone using that file room computer. Anyone who happened to open the cloud storage app and browse the recently deleted folder. My mind raced through the implications. Rachel worked in commercial real estate, a small firm with maybe 20 employees. The file room was shared space. People printed contracts there, scanned documents, used the equipment for everything from client presentations to personal tax returns. How many people had access? Who else might have seen these files? I opened a new browser window and searched for Rachel's company. Cascade Property Group, Klamath Falls. Their website showed a team page with photos and names. 23 employees total. I recognized a few from company holiday parties. Todd something, the senior broker, Amanda from accounting, that young guy with the beard who talked my ear off about fly fishing. Any of them could have stumbled across Rachel's confession drafts. I checked the file metadata. Each document showed not just creation dates but also access history. The first draft had been opened 17 times across 3 different devices. The most recent draft had been opened 9 times. My laptop. Rachel's laptop. And Office File Room Laptop 3. Someone else had read these files. Multiple times. I pulled up the detailed access log, something I'd learned to do during my data analyst training. Each file access created a timestamp and device ID. I cross-referenced the timestamps with Rachel's calendar, which she also kept on our shared cloud. The pattern emerged quickly. Wednesday afternoons, when Rachel was supposedly at book club, when she was actually at the Riverside Inn with Tyler, someone was accessing these files from the office laptop. Not just once. Repeatedly. Opening them, reading them, closing them. The most recent access was yesterday, Thursday afternoon at 2:47 p.m. Someone had opened all 7 files in sequence, spending approximately 3 minutes on each one. I felt my pulse quicken. This wasn't random. Someone was deliberately reading Rachel's confession drafts. Someone who worked at Cascade Property Group. The question was, who? And what were they planning to do with the information? I downloaded the complete access log and studied it. The viewing pattern was consistent. Always Thursday or Friday afternoons, always from the same file room computer, always the same sequence of files opened in chronological order, oldest to newest, methodical, intentional. Like someone was following a story. My phone buzzed. A text from Brian Walsh. Papers ready for service. Process server can deliver Monday morning at her office. Confirm? Monday morning, 3 days away. Rachel would be served divorce papers at Cascade Property Group in front of her colleagues, in the same building where someone was already reading her secret confession drafts. I thought about the access logs, the timestamps, the careful pattern of someone reviewing Rachel's unsent letters like chapters in a book. Whoever was reading them knew about the affair, knew about Tyler, knew Rachel had been drafting confessions for weeks while continuing to lie to me. What would they do when Rachel got served? Would they stay silent? Or would they have questions? I pulled up the Cascade Property Group website again and looked at the staff page. 23 employees. I needed to narrow it down. The access logs showed the files were being viewed Thursday and Friday afternoons, between 2 and 4 p.m. I cross-referenced this with Rachel's work calendar, which showed her typical schedule. Thursday afternoons, she usually had property showings. Friday afternoons were office admin time, so whoever was accessing the files was doing it when Rachel was likely out of the office. I clicked through the staff photos, reading bios. Todd Freeman, senior broker with the firm for 15 years. Amanda Price, office manager, handled all administrative functions. Kevin Wright, junior associate, recent hire, 6 months with the company. 6 months. Right when Rachel's affair started. I opened a new search window and typed, Kevin Wright Peak Fitness Klamath Falls. The results loaded. Kevin Wright's Facebook page, privacy settings loose enough to show recent photos. There he was at Peak Fitness, tagged in a group photo from 3 months ago. The caption read, Best workout crew, thanks Tyler for pushing us. Tyler Bennett was in the photo. So was Kevin Wright. They knew each other. Worked out together. Which meant Kevin probably knew Tyler was seeing someone. And now Kevin was reading Rachel's confession drafts on the office computer, learning that the someone was his colleague's wife. I sat back, pieces clicking together. Kevin Wright had access to the file room. He knew Tyler. He was reading Rachel's drafts systematically, probably trying to decide what to do with the information. And in 3 days, Rachel would be served divorce papers at the office, making everything public anyway. The question was whether Kevin had already told Tyler about the drafts, whether Tyler knew that Rachel had been trying to confess, whether the whole situation was about to explode before I could control the narrative. I pulled up my email and started typing to Brian Walsh. Brian. Situation has developed. Rachel's confession drafts are accessible on shared office computer. Evidence suggests coworker has been reading them. Coworker who knows Tyler. Need to discuss strategy before Monday service. Can you call tonight? Michael. I hit send and checked the time. 3:47 p.m. Rachel would be home in an hour, playing the devoted wife, making dinner, asking about my day. The girls would do homework and watch TV. We'd maintain the facade for another weekend. But Monday morning, everything would change. The process server would arrive at Cascade Property Group. Rachel would be handed divorce papers in front of her colleagues. And Kevin Wright, who'd been reading her secret confessions for weeks, would finally understand the whole story. I opened the access log one more time, studying the timestamps. The last access was yesterday at 2:47 p.m. Would Kevin check again today? Tomorrow? I needed to know who else knew. Needed to control the information before Monday. My phone rang. Brian Walsh, returning my email faster than expected. Michael, he said, tell me about these confession drafts. I told him everything. I pulled into the driveway at 6:47 p.m., the dashboard clock glowing in the darkness. Rachel's car sat in its usual spot, kitchen lights warm through the windows. Normal. Everything looked so goddamn normal. My phone buzzed. Jennifer Cole. Just left the file room. Got what we needed. And? Document Shredder app on the shared office laptop. Rachel's been using it to destroy drafts before final deletion. Smart, actually. Leaves no cloud trace once shredded. But she queued 7 items for batch destruction Monday morning. Scheduled task. I gripped the steering wheel. The confession letters. More than that, I photographed the queue before it processes. 2 of the drafts have embedded metadata. Tyler's address auto-filled from her contacts. The app log shows she was preparing mailing labels. My stomach dropped. She was going to mail them? Looks like it. Draft 4 has a complete address block. Tyler Bennett, 847 Cascade View Drive, Apartment 12B. Draft 6 has the same. She was testing formats, probably deciding whether to confess to you or to him first. I sat in the dark car, engine ticking as it cooled. Why schedule them for deletion Monday? Same day the divorce papers hit. She knows something's coming. Kevin told her. Or she's just smart enough to feel the walls closing in. Jennifer's voice sharpened. But here's the interesting part. The Shredder app is company property, installed on all shared devices for compliance. It logs everything: user IDs, timestamps, document metadata, even partial content for audit trails. Rachel's been using company resources to manage her personal affair. That's a violation. Of her employment agreement, yes. I pulled the relevant sections from the employee handbook posted on their website. Use of company equipment for personal matters, especially matters that could create liability exposure, is grounds for termination. And if she was planning to mail those letters using company label templates and possibly company postage, mail fraud. That's a federal stretch, but document destruction using company resources to hide personal misconduct, that's fireable. And since the app creates an audit trail, there's no way to claim it didn't happen. I watched Rachel move past the kitchen window, probably starting dinner. Send me everything. Already in your encrypted folder. But Michael? The Shredder queue processes automatically at 8 a.m. Monday. Once those drafts are gone, the metadata goes with them. We have until then to decide what to do with this. I know what to do with it. I ended the call and pulled up the encrypted folder on my phone. Jennifer had been thorough. Screenshots of the Shredder queue, each draft listed with timestamp and user ID. R. Stevens. Rachel's corporate login. The metadata made my hands shake. Not just Tyler's address, full mailing labels, formatted and ready to print. She'd been planning to send physical letters, confessions on paper, permanent and traceable. But she'd chickened out, queued them for destruction instead. I opened the photos Jennifer had taken of the actual draft content visible in the queue preview. The app showed the first 200 characters of each document for audit purposes. Draft 4. Tyler, I can't keep doing this. What we have is real, but it's built on lies and I can't. Draft 6. Tyler, by the time you read this, everything will have changed. I'm telling Michael tonight. I need you to know that what we shared meant. Draft 7. I don't know if I'm writing this to you or to myself. Maybe both. Maybe neither. All I know is that I can't be the person who. Each one a different approach, different tone. Testing which version of herself she wanted to be when the truth came out. None of them sent. All of them scheduled to disappear Monday morning, 8 hours before the divorce papers hit her desk. I photographed my phone screen showing the timestamps, then opened a new browser window. The idea had been forming since Jennifer mentioned the audit trail. Rachel had used company resources to manage her affair. The evidence was documented, time-stamped, undeniable. And there was a forum for this kind of thing. I'd found it weeks ago, during my initial research phase. CorporateCompliance.net, a whistleblower forum where employees could anonymously report workplace violations. The site verified corporate email addresses but stripped identifying information before posting. Everything was public, searchable, permanent. I created a new account using a burner email, then drafted the post carefully. Subject: Employee using company document shredder for personal affair management. Discovered that an employee at a commercial real estate firm in Oregon has been using the company's secure document shredder application to destroy drafts of confession letters related to an extramarital affair. The Shredder app, installed for compliance purposes, has logged multiple instances of personal documents being queued for destruction, including drafts containing the affair partner's address, formatted as mailing labels. Metadata shows the employee, user ID, R. Stevens, scheduled 7 documents for batch deletion on Monday morning, all related to personal matters rather than business purposes. This appears to violate the company's acceptable use policy regarding company equipment and resources. The app's audit trail shows 7 draft documents queued for deletion, 2 drafts containing formatted mailing addresses, non-business. All documents created during business hours using company equipment. Scheduled deletion timed to coincide with other personal events. Question for the community. Does this constitute misuse of company resources? Should this be reported to HR or management? The audit trail is comprehensive and would survive any internal investigation. I read it 3 times, making sure nothing identified Rachel specifically beyond what the metadata already showed. The forum's whole purpose was exposing corporate misconduct. This qualified. My finger hovered over post. Rachel appeared at the front door, backlit by the hallway light. She waved, smiling, probably wondering why I was sitting in the car. I hit post. The thread went live immediately, public and searchable. Anyone Googling Rachel's user ID would find it. Anyone at her company monitoring the forum, and compliance officers definitely monitored these forums, would recognize their document shredder app, their audit trail format. I pocketed my phone and headed inside. "Hey," Rachel said, kissing my cheek. "Long day?" "Yeah, traffic." "Dinner's almost ready. Girls are doing homework." I hung my coat, watching her move back toward the kitchen. She had no idea that her carefully scheduled document destruction had just become public knowledge. No idea that the audit trail she thought would disappear Monday morning was now preserved in screenshots, posted on a forum that compliance officers checked religiously. My phone buzzed. The forum thread already had responses. User Compliance Officer PDX. This is a clear violation of acceptable use. If you have documentation, report it to HR immediately. The audit trail is discoverable in any investigation or lawsuit. User, HR Consultant. Seattle. Document shredder apps are considered company property. Using them for personal matters, especially to hide misconduct, is typically grounds for termination. The metadata about mailing labels is particularly problematic. Suggests possible mail fraud if company resources were used. User, Legal, Eugene. IANL. But this could expose the company to liability if the employee was conducting an affair using company equipment. They need to investigate before it becomes a bigger problem. The thread was growing. I refreshed the page, 11 responses now, all saying the same thing: report it, investigate it, document it. I opened my email and drafted a message to the USPS Office of Inspector General. Jennifer had mentioned mail fraud as a stretch, but the mailing labels were real, formatted, and ready to use. Whether Rachel had actually intended to use company postage didn't matter. The preparation was documented. 2. USPS.gov OIG Hotline. Subject: Potential mail fraud, misuse of company resources. I am reporting potential mail fraud involving the preparation of personal correspondence using company equipment and resources. The individual in question used a company document shredder application to manage drafts of personal letters, including formatting mailing labels for personal correspondence. Attached documentation shows user ID and timestamps of document preparation. Mailing label metadata, including recipient addresses. Evidence of company resource misuse. While I cannot confirm whether actual postage was used, the preparation of mailing materials using company equipment appears to constitute misuse that could facilitate mail fraud. I attached Jennifer's screenshots, redacting only the company name for now. The OIG would investigate or they wouldn't, but the report would be on file, time-stamped, and official. Sent. Rachel called from the kitchen. Michael, can you help Emma with her math? Be right there. I pulled up Brian Walsh's number and sent a text. Need to add something to the filing. Rachel used company document shredder for affair management. Have audit trail. Can we include document destruction costs in the petition? His response came fast. Interesting. If you can prove company resource misuse, we can claim those costs as marital waste. How much data are we talking? 7 documents, multiple drafts, scheduled for deletion Monday morning. All logged and time-stamped. Send me the documentation. I'll draft an addendum to the petition. This could be good. Shows pattern of deception and misuse of resources. Judge won't like it. I forwarded Jennifer's encrypted folder, then joined Emma at the dining room table. She was struggling with long division. Pencil marks smudged across the page. Dad, I don't get it. I sat beside her, walking through the problem step by step. Across the room, Rachel hummed while setting the table. Lily colored at the coffee table, her stuffed rabbit propped beside her. My phone buzzed again. The forum thread had 37 responses now. Someone had cross-posted it to a legal advice forum. Someone else had tagged it with Rachel's company name. Apparently, the document shredder app was distinctive enough to identify. The facade was cracking. By Monday morning, when those drafts were scheduled to disappear, Rachel's carefully hidden affair would be public knowledge. The forum posts would be indexed by search engines. The USPS report would be in federal databases. The amended divorce petition would include document destruction costs, forcing her to explain in court why she'd used company resources to manage her personal misconduct. She'd wanted to control the narrative, decide when and how the truth came out. I'd taken that choice away. Dad? Emma tugged my sleeve. Is this right? I checked her work. Perfect. You got it. She beamed, and I felt the familiar ache. Protecting them through this was going to be brutal, but necessary. Rachel called us to dinner. We sat together, family dinner like always. She asked about my day. I asked about hers. The girls chattered about school. My phone stayed silent in my pocket, but I knew the thread was growing. The investigation was starting. The walls were closing in. Monday morning, Rachel's drafts would try to disappear. But I'd already made sure they never could. Monday morning arrived like a reckoning. I dropped the girls at school, watching Emma's backpack bounce as she ran toward her classroom. Lily waved from the daycare window, her stuffed rabbit pressed against the glass. They had no idea their world was about to shift on its axis. Rachel was already at work by the time I got back home. The house felt hollow without her presence, though I'd been living in that hollowness for weeks already. My phone buzzed at 9:23 a.m. Brian Walsh. Process server confirmed delivery. She's been served. I imagined Rachel's face as she opened the envelope. The confusion, then recognition, then panic. Her colleagues watching. Kevin Wright, probably somewhere nearby, finally understanding why he'd been reading those confession drafts. The second text came at 9:47 a.m. She's calling, letting it go to voicemail. I didn't call her back. At 10:15, my phone rang. Rachel. I let it ring through. She called 6 more times before noon. Each call went to voicemail. I didn't listen to the messages. Jennifer texted at 11:30. The forum thread hit 200 responses. Someone from her company's compliance department commented, "They're investigating." At 2 p.m., Rachel came home. I heard her car in the driveway, the front door opening. I was in my office, the door closed. Michael? Her voice cracked. Michael, please, we need to talk. I opened the door. She stood in the hallway, mascara streaked, divorce petition clutched in her hand. She looked smaller somehow, diminished. How long have you known? She whispered. Since Sunday. The text from Tyler on your lock screen. She closed her eyes. I was going to tell you. I wrote letters. I know about the letters. I know about the document shredder. I know about all of it, Rachel. You went through my files? Our shared cloud account. The one you forgot to log out of on the office computer. The one Kevin Wright has been reading your confessions from for the past 3 weeks. Her face went white. Kevin knows everything. So does Tyler probably. So does your entire office by now. And thanks to the compliance form, so does anyone who Googles your name. She sank against the wall. What did you do? What you should have done months ago. I told the truth. The divorce took 8 months. Rachel fought for joint custody initially, but the evidence was overwhelming. The affair, the lies, the company resource misuse, which did result in her termination 2 weeks after being served. The forum thread became part of the court record. So did the USPS investigation, which ultimately found insufficient evidence for mail fraud charges but documented everything nonetheless. Brian was right about the judge not liking it. The pattern of deception, the Wednesday night absences, Emma's testimony in chambers about mommy always being late now. It all added up. I got primary custody. Rachel got every other weekend and alternating holidays. The house sold in June. Rachel moved to an apartment across town. I found a smaller place near the girls' school, 3 bedrooms, a fenced yard for the dog we'd eventually get. Tyler disappeared from the picture entirely. According to mutual acquaintances, he'd transferred to a peak fitness location in Portland within a month of everything going public. Rachel never mentioned him again. The girls adjusted better than I'd feared. Children are resilient in ways adults forget. Emma asked questions I answered honestly but gently. Lily was young enough that the new normal became just normal. 2 houses instead of 1, 2 bedrooms, 2 sets of toys. I saw Rachel at exchanges, brief and cordial. Sometimes I caught glimpses of the woman I'd married, in the way she braided Emma's hair, or how she still cut Lily's sandwiches into triangles. Those moments hurt in a different way, mourning not what was lost, but what had never really existed. Kevin Wright sent me a Facebook message 6 months after the divorce finalized. I'm sorry I didn't say something sooner. I didn't know what to do with what I'd found. For what it's worth, I hope you and your daughters are doing okay. I never responded. His guilt wasn't my burden to absolve. On a Tuesday evening in November, almost a year after that first text message, I sat with Emma and Lily in our new living room. We were building a blanket fort, the kind that took up the entire space and required every pillow we owned. Emma was directing operations with the seriousness of a general. Lily kept stealing pillows for her rabbit. Dad, this is the best fort ever, Emma declared, crawling inside. Better than the one at Mom's house? I asked. She considered this carefully. Different. Both good. I looked at my daughters, their faces lit by the string lights we'd hung inside the fort, and felt something shift. Not healing. Healing was still far off, but acceptance. This was our life now. Not the one I'd planned, not the one I'd thought I was building for 11 years, but ours nonetheless. The truth is, there's no moral high ground in the wreckage of a marriage. Rachel made her choices, and I made mine. She chose deception. I chose exposure. Neither of us emerged clean. The girls paid the price they always do when adults fail each other. But if there's a lesson in any of this, it's this. Trust isn't a given. It's built in small moments, in truthful answers and kept promises. It's maintained through transparency, even when transparency is hard. And when it's broken, really, truly broken, no amount of confession drafts or scheduled deletions can rebuild what's already shattered. You can't delete the truth. You can only decide whether to face it or let it face you. I chose to face it. And in that choice, I found the only kind of peace available to me. The peace of knowing I'd protected my daughters, preserved the evidence, and refused to live in a lie. The blanket fort collapsed around midnight. I carried both girls to their beds, tucked them in, kissed their foreheads. Emma mumbled something about needing more pillows next time. Lily clutched her rabbit tighter. I stood in their doorway, watching them sleep, and thought about the screenshot that had changed everything. One text message, one moment of carelessness, one crack in the facade. Everything after that was just gravity, pulling the truth down until it landed where it belonged. Out in the open, where lies can't survive.